you can go in with dogs. So there were quite a few dogs in. So I think that's an attraction.
Should be okay.
Marcia normally does.
Just
But yeah, so there were.
check the little things moving. So
And there were several tables that were reserved as well. And the place as a whole is a lot better. When we went for breakfast, give away skin. I'm not earning now. I'm retired. I'm not earning now. Yeah. So gave up all the things that used to pay me and do all the stuff that don't pay me. No, I'm not. Well, it's 7 o'clock, I think. Let me just check all my clocks. Yeah, 7. Have you got 7 on yours? Don't like going early. So I've got an Audi. It's like.
I thought it were Marcy's bonus.
Spanish Inquisition. You will answer the question. Well, that's not Spanish.
That's not good on camera.
Yeah, no. There's an Audi out there with the headlight. Full beam on straight in my eyes. So, I'll not be able to read my notes. Yeah. So thanks for coming again. A bit better weather than we've had, or a bit warmer. I'll start off going through the responses from the club that they gave from the last meetings that we had, the committee meeting and the last drop in December, January, in the order that they're done here. PA system, because a lot of these are ones that have been going on for a long time. PA system, please note, work is ongoing in this area. A number of companies have visited the stadium to assess our needs, and further investigations are required in order for them to be able to provide a quotation for an upgrade. So it's clearly recognised as a problem. The emergency announcements have been quieter than the non-emergency announcements in the last week or two, because we were assured that if it's an emergency announcement, you'll hear that, it'll burst your eardrums. Well, they've clearly been burst because I couldn't hear them.
No, the emergency ones have come up because they're the ones that, well, not emergency.
Well, the ones from the office rather than
I think we've narrowed it down to the one in the office next to the control tower rather than Howard's Mine.
Oh yeah, I don't think it was ever Howard's Mine.
There's a ghost in the system somewhere. It only appears when the stadium reviews. It works perfectly fine when it's empty. So they are onto it. They are doing the best.
Knowing a little bit about acoustics, not a lot. You stick people with jumpers and coats on, and it absorbs a massive amount of the sound. Massive amount. So, which of course, a few years ago. So it is. So there clearly is something that's not right, and it's an establishment. Whether is it the thing as a whole, or like you say, is it just one little bit somewhere in the software or the hardware or whatever? But it's noted. We keep on getting people to. All we can do is keep on badgering the club to say, don't forget. Item 2, say instead of PA system, put the words concourse offerings in, and it's the same. The club recognises that supporters would like a wider range of offering on match day and is looking at ways this can be achieved. However, it's currently limited to the equipment in the kiosks. It's more than that. Some of it is about email that has come in the last few days. Sort of said about, it's been, but you could have one person be on staff just pouring beer and passing it out, because I do believe, I don't use it because I'm busy doing stuff, but I believe if you go and order a beer, somebody goes 10 paces to go and get it, then comes back. So you could perhaps save quite a few paces by having somebody just, so there's a logistical thing as well that I think ought to be looked at as well, and reviewed by a third party. So, what are people's experience has been like in the room here in the concourse in the last week too, in terms of getting served quicker or slower?
But what if you had the sale of the alcohol in one place that you had to go to get it there? Like you do if you get one from one of the kiosks that's actually in the crowd, you know.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, there's quite a few other clubs do that, split it. Nobody in the last 5 years really has been getting crowds like we're getting. So you know, if you only have 800, that means
Not that it bothers me, I don't drink beer.
no.
Match day.
No, that never really worked properly. The one where there was a little needle came on the bottom. That did 6 or 8 at once.
Yeah.
I think one of the issues, because you serve beer to a legal measure, and I think it was short changing some of them, and so you then have to go and work them all out and top them all, and it took longer. I think that was it. Paul Watts, who was there at the time, told me that was something along those lines, but that was pre-COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it ended up not working appropriately for whatever reason. They tried it, but because it was one that I think it was the Orient game, wasn't it?
It was
I think the telly people came and shoved the people who do the stream away, and they hadn't got a long enough cables for where they were set up to do it. So if that happens again, I think they'll probably have the right kit.
That was the match that I went down at 40 minutes to get a hot chocolate, and I came out at 57 minutes.
One of the things with doing 2 queues when it's bad is you might have to queue 35 minutes for beer and 35 minutes for a pie. You know,
Do you think other clubs have this problem, or I mean, surely?
Yeah, they do, but we don't see many clubs that have got full houses. We've only seen Wrexham really, and I don't know how many people used to.
They've got to buy it now inside the concourse if they're
putting any food in. No, John Crute said that in this meeting, hasn't he? That we won't stop people coming in with it. It'll stop people bringing in stuff you're not allowed to bring in, glass bottles or whatever. But people know, should know that. But it's not right. We are full. It's never been tested really before to this limit. The quality of the food circulates. That makes you think I wouldn't ever want to eat that. And I suspect one of the issues is that I don't know this. I suspect we're contracted till the end of the season with food suppliers. I don't know. That might be me just guessing. But you were going to say something. Were you? No, not you. I'm not talking to you. I've heard you sing today. I don't want to hear you again.
So you claim my point.
Ways for food and drink at away matches. I think sometimes people seem to think that there's a great offering elsewhere, and I've not found it yet.
Yeah.
I think you don't mind waiting if you're going to get something decent, and I think the pricing and what level of food we're offering for the 35, 40 minute wait that you've gone down before, the amount of people, is there a fire drill that we're not?
Some of our fans read about the food at Halifax. But try getting served in half.
I come to go to a football match. I don't come to go out 5 minutes before the best club in the world to. I don't come to go 5 minutes before half time to make sure I get a drink or come back 12 minutes later.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm quite honest with you. You know where I sit. But people are getting a damn nuisance, and you get 4 blokes, and they all come out, and you've got to keep sat down because these people are trooping off before half time and coming back afterwards. It's a damn nuisance. It spoils it at times, and it would be convenient.
I mean, hot chocolate. There was no food left. Within 10 minutes of me still queuing, but say I was in the centre of the concourse, they went to one end to get the hot chocolate cup, and then went to the other end of the concourse to get hot water, to come back to the other end to get the chuffing lid and come back.
No, I'm sure logistics is a big problem with the thing all round, because it always is in anything like that, and sometimes people are just used to a way of doing it. You need somebody to say.
The other half was the FA Cup match away at Derby.
Yeah.
And I went down that concourse.
Yeah.
But they've got that setup where somebody was on the hot drinks machine.
Yeah.
Somebody else
Yeah.
was doing beer.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then other people were just picking that up from them and bringing it to the front.
Yes. Yeah.
Chelsea was good because you could order on an app and then just go and collect it. You
Yeah, but
didn't have to
you
queue
got to
up.
have the space there, and
Yeah.
you got to have the space.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem, I think, is the lack of space for them.
Elderly people won't use apps.
No.
But then people were queuing up that didn't have the apps. So,
Yeah.
Chelsea worked quite well, I thought, at the
You're
time.
quite old, John. Do you use an app?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very old. They only use
Well,
that.
that theory, Dillis.
We don't.
I don't know anybody older than John.
Not in here.
But one of the things I've been talking to about somebody at the club for, dare I say, a potential championship clinching game at Maidenhead, where you might have 25 people come from wherever you come. I even thought about it, I don't know if it's letting them outside and having a scram van or a scram van outside, so they don't have to use the concourses, something along those lines.
Possibly, but maybe not. Would have to.
Well, it is, but there's a scram van inside with 2 or 3 people inside it. And if you've got more than 20 people there, you'd be waiting forever. I get it. And that's lots and lots of profit, not turnover or anything, it's about profit. We all understand that, but I don't like that.
Oh. I
Sorry?
don't know how much.
Charge more for a wait then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I
It's
think it's
£4.
right.
I think it's £4.50 for a burger in the home end, and it's what are there when it's £2.
So it's only going to make £25 worth of difference at the end of the day, isn't it?
Well, in 1866 lounge, I know it's completely different, but just to put the
Terrific, yeah.
excellent
Yeah.
for game, it's different.
You can retrofit aircon in, but it's going to cost a few quid to do. You can do. It's not an issue, but you've got to you do if you've got anything that needs electricity or fire to heat it above a certain level, you've got to have. You've got to have a certain heat.
And it's
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
where would the air fryers go if there's no.
Industrial air fryer.
No, it's because they only have warmers that go up
Yeah.
to 50 degrees or. Once you start getting above 100 degrees, it's
It's not very practical. I mean, one way to do it is to have something on outside here, and let people have a fence around so they can't come in.
I personally think that's the solution that needs to be looked at.
That's got to be then police.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's the question for the club, isn't it? Do they invest in the concourses moving forward and keep it, or do they outsource it and close the concourses? It's
Yeah.
getting
Or
to a
have the
tipping point, isn't
concourses
it?
that's drinks only,
Yeah.
and then the food's outsourced, and you go outside and get your food.
Yeah.
Which is the worst one? Which is the worst concourse? Is it the Greer?
It's with the East End because it's really narrow.
Yeah.
They're more square in the West. I know they're not square, but they're square. So you've got a lot more room to play with in the West End, and you don't get and with there being two, you know, a north and a south concourse. So yeah.
But it also, like, you know, at some grounds, you have where people queue, they have like a little fence round.
I asked about they're not allowed it apparently.
Fire regulations.
Even the fabric ones that pull out and
you know, when people are walking around in totally
Fire would not be
Yeah.
happy with
It works when you've got somewhere like Wembley, they've got those, but they've got a really deep concourse.
Yeah.
You've got to have the
And
make
little
it
grounds is
clear.
like normal, isn't it?
And
Some of the little grounds are great as well.
yeah, but what you've got is all this
It is now.
make is down to the local county, so you get different interpretations in different. Yeah, I'm sure Derbyshire County Council has got somebody who treats anti-terrorism a little bit more than they do in some other counties. So you've got to have bars to stop a 7.5 ton lorry running into a crowd.
Yeah.
You know, well, there's still a crowd there, even if even if your bar supporters bar outside, there's still people in there.
Yeah.
You can still run a car at them. You know, so and of course some of the smaller grounds in the National League aren't covered by any licensing.
No, so once you're coming down into the National League, you have safety advisory groups. Once you go into League, that goes down to 5,000. So there's only actually us, probably Oldham and York, over 10,000 in this league that's strictly to them green guide.
Well, I don't think York's over 10,000, is it?
No.
No.
For all that, do we know if they're actually making any money on the concourses?
Well, they always say it's record sales, but that's a lot to do with the amount of people that are in here. And the prices they charge, I'm sure they're making a fair few quid, yeah.
One interesting point, Bovril was the best selling drink in the Tuesday night.
Was there more choice? So, and a couple of non-league grounds with the youth teams, and they have proper bottling spoons out of a jar. You know?
Big tips.
Yeah. I don't want the club to think that people are just moaning about beef burgers. There's a lot more to it, and I hope that they choose to look, and I'll put it in the next lot of notes. I hope they choose to look at it as a job lot.
Robust review.
Robust, I'm going to use those words. A robust review.
Get rid of the oldest person in the room.
And just looking at some of the new emails that have come in. Thomas sent in the food at the ground seems to be causing concern. We all at the club, however, due to current standard, we can't justify $5.50 on a cheeseburger, £3 on a chocolate bar, with near superstores being the best option for many. What the club to do with improve? Because of course the club don't want people to spend at Greggs. They want people to spend here, getting earlier, and all that sort of stuff. But hey, if you need some food, go to Greggs and get 4 sausage rolls for £1.
See, I can understand the reasoning for the prices of the sausage rolls and the pies, because they say, you know, they're not. But
Greggs isn't hot food.
no, but chocolate and bottles of drink and tea and coffee, £2.50 for a cup of tea, or £3 if you're in the away end, isn't fair. £2.50, £3 for a bottle of water.
Well, I wouldn't buy it
No.
personally. But,
Well, I think it's a football ground, not a cafe.
yeah.
Just like that. One cafe, I go to Greggs.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I didn't
I think we'll just
Will drop back. It's fine. You know,
Yeah.
the prices are high because it's going to drop the demand a little bit and ease the pressure on the concourses if we make the stuff too cheap.
You'll still not serve anybody else because you can't. Yeah, it is. It's a difficult situation, but I think a lot of people are arguing about the quality. Don't mind paying £5.50. The quality's right.
Yeah.
But they don't think what they get for £5.50 is the quality. So that's a big issue. But then, if the quality's really good, you won't get any anyway, because either they've run out or you have to queue for too long.
Yeah, Greggs in to do it.
Queuing to enter the ground. This is still the club's responses. Steps have been taken to improve this for the rest of the season. CCTV monitoring suggests the situation has eased over the last few matches. As somebody who's in early, people are coming in earlier. There's no question there.
It was
The club will continue to monitor this situation closely and will be exploring new ticketing options and expecting new handheld systems for next season. So it sounds as though that's been taken on board. You see the CCTV, Adam?
Yeah, John Nash come on the podcast, didn't he, as well, and spoke about it. They're looking at hand scanners and stuff. They are come 10 to 3 or 10 minutes before. If there was a queue, they are. Tony's opening the gates and hand scanning people in. It's just changing habits, really. People, we're at capacity nearly, especially while we're using Little Easters away. It does. East End does suffer from that.
I think there's a situation as well now that we've got fewer new supporters coming in, whereas things have grown through the season. People come that's not familiar with the ticket arrangement. They come with the barcode at the bottom. I think of this at that mentioned at the last meeting. They then can't get it scanned. They're going to fold into some muck and mess about. Well, I think there's less of that now.
I saw a tweet the other day with somebody had got a printed ticket and they were waving it at the turnstiles and wondering why they didn't take it.
I think Stuart said on
It might be
your
Steve,
podcast that there was 2 people trying and they didn't know where to scan it, and it's like,
There are a lot getting used to that now. Cause
Yes,
we
absolutely.
used to have to skew the crew into Tesco to get to South Turnstiles. I went there the other day, just walked straight in.
But just to put it into some sort of perspective, the crowds this season, last season was the highest home crowd we've had since we've been here. The average was less than the first season here because there were a lot more away fans came in that first season. But the home fans only, it was a high season last season. And it's like 10 or 11% more this season than they were last season. So there's new fans coming from somewhere. And like I say, when they've been in a couple of times and they know how to do it, they don't know how to do it. But the first time, and there's probably been more first time attendees this season than in most other seasons. There certainly wouldn't have been many first time attendees in 2019-20 when we had average crowd about 3,500. So people are getting more used to it. The stewards are getting more aware. There's definitely eyes on it every week. And regardless of what concourse offerings, people are coming in earlier. Yeah, and I can see that because I'm in before there's any turnstile open. So you can see that people are coming in earlier as well. Post-match car park movement. Chris mentioned this the other week at Welland as well. Announcements made every game asking fans to follow stewards' instruction. The club have said they will identify any culprits and they will be banned from the car park. So it's in reality. What was it like after Southend?
Good.
Yeah, when that previous time when we came out,
it was solid, wasn't it? It was really bad.
And they'd all moved. It was a bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were attempting to stop it, but people were still moving to an extent.
Yeah.
And I think it was the announcement was all right at Southend. The previous one when they said something, it was just at the wrong minute.
Yeah.
Something else happened. You couldn't tell what they were saying.
Yeah. So, well, it was a bit. What was it? Was it 9,000? Southend would get 9,000. Or was it just under 9,000?
8,000.
So it's pretty high.
Yeah.
So a little bit better. So that's encouraging. And again, it seems as though the club's taking that on board. Stewards blocking supporters' views. Stewards have been made aware and have been reminded on pre-match briefings. Anybody suffered with that lately? I think I said last time. I now watch the highlights twice. Once to see if I can see any stewards standing up, and then I watch the match, or sometimes the way around. Does it seem to, because again, a little bit like first time and irregular attendees, the stewards are getting more used to it now, aren't they?
Yeah, it's difficult because they've got to remain pitch side somewhere, and there's only some places you can stand without being in the way. So it is a difficult call, especially when the likes of the incident at Woking happened, and you've got to put that line on to protect the pitch. I get people's frustrations. I've been there.
I don't think people are so bothered in the last 5 or 10 minutes. I think they get that a bit more, but it's just during the game.
Obviously, I walk around every game. I've not seen any stewards refuse to move within reason. So
I mean, it's been interesting because it's something that I clock when I'm watching Premier League or whatever championship or whatever game's on. And match I was watching the other day, this ball boys had a plastic sheet not a sheet, but it was almost like a chopping board, but a plastic chopping board that they were sat on.
Yeah.
And then you get things like at Chelsea, and the stewards are full on laid on the floor,
Yeah, I've seen that.
on the grass, you know.
You
And
used to
it's
get that
like,
from the Cop at Liverpool, didn't you?
Yeah.
and it might even have been one of those matches, but it's like, you know, I think the ball boys, not mention what they don't
Laura,
do,
you've
what
got
they're
people like
supposed
chairs
to,
now.
but yeah, they don't do what they do, but
Well, we did
they
have
sit out of the way.
many meetings ago. We did have somebody wrote in and say, "Why don't the ball collectors ever collect the balls?"
Oh, yeah.
Which I can agree with. You know, sometimes they should do more than they do, but they're sat and they're out of the way. And then the stewards, I've not seen anybody in the West Stand for a while being stood up in the way. But
No, it's improving. It's improving.
Yeah.
And again, a lot of it is some of these guys and girls have got used to coming.
Yeah.
Now, which
and know where they can sit,
know where's
what
where
they
and
can
what's
do,
what.
and yeah.
And they have more briefings. You know, they're getting used to the briefings and everything.
Yeah.
Would be good for a formal fan zone update. The response: the club is keen to have a supporter fan zone in place as soon as possible. Planning permission for a container bar zone has been approved, and discussions are taking place with the match day safety advisory group. So this is about, we call it anti-terrorism. We're stopping vehicles inadvertently running into groups of people, really, isn't it? And of course, fresh from the memory of what happened across the road not very long ago.
Yeah.
That'll just add to the angst, I'm sure, of decision makers at the Batch House. So it's really making it, Adam, to a level where everybody's happy that that's as safe as you can realistically get.
Yeah, and that's exactly where it's sat. It's sat with a little risk assessment on the vehicle-borne attacks with Safety Advisory Group. So legally it's allowed to open because
I was
it's
going
got
to
its
say, so
license, it's got
planning permission's
buildings.
been passed again.
Yeah, it's got its license. It's just about
Sad.
a risk assessment for opening and having 200 people stood in that area for vehicle-borne attacks. So it's watched its space. I'm hoping it's going to be open. So I'd like to see it developed. This is something that Forum have pushed for.
And it'll also set a precedent for what we're looking about possibly having outside the concourses, vans or whatever, burger vans or whatever. So, the question, it was Mick, wasn't it, who asked, can we have Martin Thacker to come and talk to us about the National League board? It's a board, not a committee, and it's a board, I think, yeah. And the club said, with Martin's permission, the club could provide Martin's contact details to the chair of the supporters forum. So, please note, Martin is not a director of the club and is a director of the National League in a private capacity. He is on the board of trustees of the community trust. He doesn't represent Chesterfield Football Club on the board of the NL, which I thought he did, but obviously that's not the case.
No, because they haven't got a member from each club, so they can't.
No,
Well,
I get that. And in local council, technically you shouldn't represent your ward if you're on the planning committee, but they all do. So, and interesting, I did see on one of the message boards earlier on today, did anything ever come of the completely and utterly shambolic divvy up of money in COVID? When all the really small clubs who were all represented on the National League board at the time got significantly more than you'd have thought.
Boreham Wood, who Cammy's come back to today.
Yes, Cammy's back to Boreham Wood. So, okay, if Martin will be aware of that. Away drum location, it was interesting. I was scouring for the South End drum, and it was in the middle, and it says the club is looking at ensuring that any away drum must be located in the top corner of East E1, but it wasn't for South End. And we talked about that last time, so I was a bit disappointed it wasn't, but that's the response that we've got, as far away from CFC fans as possible. Asking fans as a whole's view, so asking what fans, is being considered. So they're doing that. We've all got our own views on drums and everything along those lines. And whilst I think it's morally wrong to charge away fans more on a concourse, I also think if you allow a drum in at home, it's morally wrong not to allow them bring one in. So, but I'm not saying that view is everybody's view. It's my view.
And let's be fair, we've missed the atmosphere, haven't we? That Southend atmosphere. It's not the same when you get 100 away fans, is it?
And
It's really good.
it could have given them an advantage to go 1-3 against the meanest defence in the division. And now, the last response from the club from the meeting of the questions that we asked about the supporters questionnaire, the response I got was that this is near to completion, and Paul Stancard has updated me, and the update from Paul was, and this came a couple of days ago, I'm finalising the survey. Bit of a nightmare as a software provider I have always used for surveys shifted their pricing structure and license in early January. I've now converted the survey to work on MS Forms. I assume that's Microsoft, it could be anything else. Whilst not as comprehensive in terms of analytics, we'll still have a good quality report. I've sent the final draft to other directors earlier today, so a couple of days ago, and we'll hopefully go to launch during this week. So a big questionnaire looks at us going out soon, which will get a view, and of course concourse offerings, queuing, blah 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 are all well, hopefully I haven't seen it in there. So in terms of the new emails that we've had in, Gav has gone for broke. Good old Gav. A few things for discussion. Can the stadium's fascias and possibly cladding be cleaned? Appreciate it costs money. But the moss is looking unsightly and makes the stadium look tight. Well, a couple of meetings ago, Paul told us they were looking at that and trying to get quotes and everything for that. So we could do with an update on that. Can't disagree with you, Gav. Gav, second place, can there be a regular litter picker put in place around the streets, in particular the northeast? Well, sadly, a lot of the litter comes from elsewhere. A lot of it just goes Greg's and John Pye's. Not that's P-Y-E, not P-I-E. Yeah. Because if there are a lot of pies blown around, they smash all the windows.
Sean and Dean did clean it up at that's one on match day, but yeah, it probably needs to be scheduled earlier or even on the match day before.
What's happened to all them other volunteers?
Well, the volunteers do clean it up.
Yeah.
And everything.
No, they go inside, stadium, but
Yeah.
It's a bit of a collection area there. It seems to grow around.
The wind doesn't let it out.
No.
Was anybody at Notts County a few years ago when there was some litter on the pitch and it was in one corner, it was just swirling around all the match in one corner?
Like the ball the other day when it was really windy.
Yeah.
It just stayed in the air.
Yeah. It's like when them pigeons come down in that corner. If there's ever pigeons on the pitch, Tyrone Williams will have a bad down on the pitch, and it worried him. He didn't like going up there. Ty does not like it. So there are regular litter pickers, but there's people who drop litter from other areas as well. And yes, of course, it can always be better. Can we stop away fans bring drunk? We just talked about that. Could there be a partnership with local businesses for reasonable price match day parking? We can't afford the additional expense of parking in the club car park. With increased attendance, has struggled to get parked up within a close proximity to the ground. I appreciate some companies already provide parking, but £10 a castle is extortionate. We did ask about the council car park, didn't we? Behind Chester's.
Well, the council yard, they use for
Yeah.
It's getting horrendous behind there because some businesses have started taking to it looked like the little bit
To stop people going
some
in.
people using some of the parking that's off of the road.
That people have used before, even though it's private property.
Well, it's private property, but these businesses are shut on a Saturday.
Yes, of course, yeah.
So, yeah, yes, being cheeky, but not causing any disruption to business.
They also maybe need to be told about your parking gap because they can get parking Asda and Tesco's if they
Yeah, there is, Gav, if you ask them,
£6.
there is an app.
There's a car park at far end that they used to charge money to park in. It's empty.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's barried off, isn't it?
And you'll go on the app and it can say Tesco.
It's say sold out, yeah, but that whole end is always empty. Yeah.
What is it?
You're just park, yeah.
Just park. Oh, there's seven.
There's your parking space or something.
What experience have we got here about parking? I know public parking in the club car park.
Well, I used to park at Tesco's all the time, but it was £3.
Yeah. So when you park there,
I don't tell everybody that, though.
no. Too
So
late
I
now.
think so.
On a
You
clock,
tell
she
them.
said.
Yeah, the secret is you've got to have a number. It's still there when you come back. Or somebody's bought it. Yeah.
I think
Yeah, put it a couple of grand more than it's really worth, and then you're happy all right.
Sainsbury's were charging £3.50 to park there, which if you're young and fit enough, it's not that much of a walk up from there. So
Is it £3 across the Asda?
I think it's
Halfords.
more £4.50. I think
Is
it's
it?
gone up to now.
Back at King Street North, if you get there early enough, there's always plenty of
Do you have a lot of
street
people
parking.
going up the residents-only roads? Is that an issue?
I've not touched wood. I've not had any complaints on it. I
Oh,
do
good.
tweet it every match day. So.
Sanford and Nelson, is it?
So over
Yeah.
that way, those are
Yeah.
solid,
Yeah.
and you have got some of the residents up here that just want to put the cars parked in the
Put the
corners.
wheelies in out, don't we?
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Well, we have to go over Christmas now when to put your bins out. But there's a binfluencer on our street, so you just wait for the binfluencer, see what they do, and then you copy it.
Yeah, I don't think it has to
I was thinking
be
it was
in
put
there,
along
it's
one of
around Chesterfield, or it used to be that you paid for parking at Cassett. It was a voucher to go in and use it sweets and food.
Oh, right.
Last time I went, it didn't say anything on
No,
it.
it's just straight the £10
Straight
cash.
£10. I think if you go into Donkey Derby and buy food and drinks, yeah.
I don't know how much to charge.
You can pay it.
Do a lot of people? I'm not
Oh
saying
yeah,
this
Batch House is about £2.50. It's not expensive, Batch House.
It's an app as well, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think they've got.
Well, once you get an email
Yeah.
saying that how much you can charge.
Yeah. Do people know people who perhaps park up in town and catch the bus there? Is that does anybody
Well,
else do
we
that?
catch the bus sometimes,
Yeah.
but I used to park in town. But it was when there used to be that private bus double decker, used to take a vast number of people.
Yeah.
That doesn't operate anymore, does it?
Right.
No.
I don't
There's
know.
more people now.
Yeah, the post Saltygate bus. Yeah.
Oh,
Was
yeah,
that
yeah.
Was it £1 a trip or something like
Something
that? It
like that.
wasn't much, was it?
No, but that's not run since the
For a long
pandemic.
Before, yeah.
But I mean, we're fortunate insofar as apart from at night, we get this 90 bus which takes us all the way home.
Right. We've got Wendy said about 50-50 resolving. Can never find them, and I'm usually queuing at half time. So it brings it back. I know they do put them on the screen, but if you miss it, you miss it. They generally post it on Facebook. They always post it somewhere. I'm not saying where. If nobody's claimed it, they put it out a bit. But we did ask a meeting or two ago if they could stick it on the end of the match report because it comes at half time. You know what it is? I'll reiterate that because it's the easiest thing in the world on the website. Stick it on on the report at the end of the game, and then not everybody can read the website. They might not be on Facebook. They might be not on Twitter.
It does occasionally appear on the website, doesn't it? That must be when no one's claimed it.
Yeah.
It gets sometimes there.
It's always
They
mandated when it's not being
They
claimed.
tend to put it on Facebook and Twitter as well,
Yeah.
X. When it's drawn, it's just,
It could possibly go on though a couple of times,
Yeah, probably ought to go on more than it does.
just because it flashes on there for,
Yeah, it took 15 and 20 seconds.
yeah, and then that's it, isn't it? So surely.
That's one.
Go down to get some.
Yeah, they'll be on
water
both.
down the pitch.
Now, I've got Diana has sort of set in and said
Yeah.
have we got any North Stand users here? I suspect there's no North Stand users here, are there? And then I don't know, are you a lady? Because the ladies' toilets in the North Stand need addressing. Several toilets, but in particular, a disabled toilet under N1 has no toilet roll holder on the wall, so the toilet roll ends up on the floor. One toilet leaks badly, so there's no water, etc. So there's water, etc. over the floor. One toilet door doesn't lock, which is a bad show. And all the toilets, both ends under N1 and N4, are dirty and need a good scrub around the seat area. So I'll just report that as it is there. That's all of those should be easily fixed because it's not acceptable. Then we've got back to something that we've heard from before from David. This is my first season as season ticket holder, C4. So which ends 1 on the west end? Is it
There is
south?
Control box.
Control box.
That's FS1.
Yeah, FS1, then 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, then 2, 3,
All right.
4.
So it's right in the middle, yeah. Well, it says I'm right behind the home dugout, so
Yeah.
I thought about it, I know that. During every home game, bar the occasional cold evening, the smell from the drains is absolutely disgusting and makes me feel sick. Now, is that the grass again? Does it percolate down to there? Does it percolate down that far, the cut grass?
I mean, we walked past it when matches finished, and I haven't smelled. A couple of times it's had a cover over,
Yeah.
grass thing, but we came after the South End match past. And I admitted there was a lot of grass in, but I couldn't smell it then.
Well, that's the southeast corner, isn't
That's
it?
what I mean.
That's Stevens.
Yeah.
I never
Anybody
noticed
near the
it.
dugouts, is it?
Well, I'm not smoking it up there.
I'm
We
in
walk
West.
that way.
Anybody near the dugouts?
That's it near them, but I can't smell it.
Yeah, okay.
So that's where that's coming from.
But yeah. Well, we'll
Maybe there
we'll
was a
get them
problem
to check
with the
that.
toilets that day or something.
Even the academy players complained about it recently when they signed Road D during the cup game. Well, that must have been the Southbourne match, probably. Also, why does the new extendable tunnel have to come out so far during and half time? We can't see the players' blood, but it is what it is. I think that's a health and safety issue, and it's.
I don't think anything's ever changed.
No. It's just,
And covers on just off a touch line, is it? There's some covers there, I don't know what they're just for water. Water
Yeah.
pipes.
No, it's
It's
just-
drain on
it
it.
could be. I don't know. I've never noticed it.
It's Kevin Tang.
It's the
Well, it's a new one because we got rid of
safety deem that's what it is. It's not likely to be changed, is it? So sorry about that, David. We'll investigate the smells, but the tunnel is as it is. I'm sure we get lots of feedback on this, given the Watford fixture. My daughter and I travel home. This is from Dave, not David. My daughter and I travel home and away, but don't have season tickets because we don't live in Chesterfield, we live in Peterborough, and we might not make Tuesdays rearranged fixtures. We don't expect tickets, but a points-based system, which many clubs operate, would make sense. Not only to get tickets for games like Watford, really, and local derbies and the last game of the home game. I've actually emailed Dave back saying, if you get your tickets for Maidenhead match now, they're on sale now. But I think the way that season tickets are going at the moment, season tickets, the club has indicated in the past will be and are likely to be for some time, the main rationale.
I think the issue that we've had with being in the National League is not every club does their tickets online.
Yeah.
You know, Halifax don't give you a ticket, it's a coach room ticket or something like that.
Halifax don't even want cards.
Yeah,
They only want cash.
Oh, is it?
so,
They
you
want
know,
cash, they don't
that's
give you
twice
where
we've
we go.
there's
They
no
don't
way
give you
of saying-
Sorry.
I still don't want to go to Halifax. You know.
there's no proof of saying that you've been to that match or you've been to that match because there's no way of doing it.
Yeah.
It may be different in the EFL. I don't know whether clubs have to have.
Well, the fact of the matter is, they're going to make it a stepped choice. It'll be about how long you've had a season ticket rather than whether you've not got a season ticket. I think that's just how it is. I'm afraid. Sorry, Dave. But the club of copies of the notes.
They used to have a membership card that you could, so that a non-season ticket holder could have their match tickets loaded to that instead of, which would keep track of how many games have been to. I'm not sure that they
The
can do
membership
it.
card used to come in for cup matches after your season ticket.
Yeah,
Yes.
Then the general.
yeah, but you can,
If you like, I don't know.
it doesn't help.
And,
with the way
one of the issues at Watford in particular, sadly, because most of us in here will be season ticket holders in one way or another. I know several people who weren't season ticket holders who got tickets through season ticket holders who weren't going. So you'll never sort of stop some degree of that. I know at least 10 people who were not season ticket holders that got tickets through the Nates. So, it's a difficult one. You can't stop that happening, can you?
Phil, going back to Halifax, he says she's not going.
Yeah.
Syl's not sat with us at Halifax.
No, she just doesn't like it in general.
No, she's been on a lower level though.
Yeah, she's been on like a balcony or something. Yeah. Although one time I think you were there, put you up at the top of the flipping terrace.
That's where.
Which was horrendous.
Yeah.
So, no toilets or anything like that. No, she's got a thing with Halifax. So, and it's on a she'd have gone if it was a Saturday, but a combination of Halifax and Tuesday night is what so Dave, the club will have sight of this, Dave, but I think it's season tickets and that's likely to stay for a while. And as Marcy's just said, EFL might make it easier to that. Then Steve has quite rightly criticised communications. Again, Steve, if you weren't here or listening 3 or 4 or 5 meetings ago, the club is doing a review of communications in general. Steve said one thing I would like to clarify is how messages are responded to by club departments. Obviously, I'm in my case, the ticket office. Does the backlog get worked on, staff permitting? Then in my case, at least 3 separate queries of mine have been lost in the past 12 months, which is shocking. Do they answer what they can, then have a periodic clear out and deletion? Well, I think you were saying before we started, Marcia, that that's not necessarily the case. So yeah, there is a review going on. We'll be pushing for the results of that review and the process of that review. But the club's well aware that they're not very good at communications in general, particularly email and phone. And whatever the answer, there are some customer service training issues that require addressing. Couldn't agree more. And then you just berates the country as a whole in the area of customer services. This is flipping heck, this is another David. Are we only on Daves and Davids tonight? What? And in short, he's done a tone really, which I absolutely get it. And it came in before it was about the hunt ball. As a supporter of Chesterfield FC and a season ticket holder for many years, he was concerned about the club accepting the booking for the Barlow Hunt ball. Well, it has been. The booking was cancelled. It's only when somebody somewhere starts bringing it up and everybody looks at it a little bit more. So I don't know the circumstances of the booking. It's a private booking. I wouldn't expect we'll be able to be told what the circumstances of the booking are because it's a private booking. The club weren't selling tickets for it. They found out, they discussed it, and they decided to cancel the booking. I've seen written somewhere that Casa had cancelled it. I know somebody in the Barlow Hunt, and they confirmed to me that it was a pricing issue, that they didn't go to Casa. It wasn't that they were not allowed to book a Casa. It's the prices had got to a level that it made it too much to do it. So anyway, that had a massive profile when it was in. It was sorted out, and it was sorted out to the satisfaction of most people who were commenting on it. I'm not saying to everybody, but to most people who were commenting on it. So, I don't think we need to say any more about that, David, unless anyone wants to say any more about that. But you say if Mrs. Smith books a auction, Mrs. Smith books a auction. We've got a car park, Chris, about Welling and everything along those lines, so we covered that earlier on. Are you happy with what you've heard on the car park?
My main point about the car park was to do with the coaches arriving late for Watford.
Oh, yeah.
We had all this discussion about
the match, 400 people waiting
beforehand, but the coaches didn't arrive until 10 to 11. and they were told the day before to arrive
10:30 or
10:30.
That was subcontract coaches, they weren't it? That wasn't Wilfred Beehive.
No, the subcontractors were cleaned up by coaches whipping in quickly and revert whatever they were doing. So we got all this discussion about after the match, but Wilfried the day before to arrive 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then one of the drivers said, "No, we're told to come at 10 to 11 for an 11 o'clock departure," which is ludicrous.
Yeah. Especially with for one, you can cope with that.
Yeah.
Can't you? We can't with multiples. What was it like when you got back?
It wasn't too bad. I think I've drawn a conclusion from when it was a coach just couldn't get in. It was hazardous, but I don't think we encountered them.
And how many were there went from here? Yeah. So yeah, that's probably
26 or something.
20 something.
Yeah.
20 something.
Yeah, but
We
when
might
we,
have the same for Oldham, because there's trainer shoes for Oldham.
yeah. Well, I don't think we might have the same because people can't get all the coaches. So yeah, I'd seen something that there was a strike on that day. Let Paul Goodwin know straight away, and he went to try and get extra buses and couldn't.
I've spoken to Paul tonight. Apparently, there's the companies that use our companies are all away that week, so it's really hard to get.
Yeah, because
she's got three.
Sheffield,
Sheffield,
Manchester,
Forester away.
Forester, yeah.
Whoever Earl chooses will skills and Johnson.
I think there'll be a lot of cars
Many
getting.
buses getting hired.
Yeah.
Naps on there as well.
Yeah.
You'll need your naps on.
Yeah. No comment.
Well, it's a big car, at least it is a big car park, but it's a big car park with both sets of fans park on. It is next door to the hospital, mate. It is next door to the hospital.
Oh, that's okay then.
Well, needed to be last time.
So, okay, then, it's a big point out before. We've got a lot of familiar stuff, 50-50. Being mended in the East Stand?
I think it has. Any standards? I think it has.
Yeah, I think so. Well, issue, public address, soil laws, yeah. Right, have we got any points on raising? I got 13, I didn't want it to be 11 plus or something.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I don't want it to be 13.
Well, it's 11 plus 2.
Yeah.
You can discount me if you want.
Yeah, I'm a bit superstitious at 13. So any questions from our floor?
Has there been any comments from the club about the fiasco of the programme? Michael James. And on the back, there's two Gareth Rose. There's the referee and the assistant.
Picture.
Oh, yeah,
It got Michael James on it instead of Michael James.
The other thing which annoys me, it doesn't affect me at all. They spelled his name wrong for how many years? I don't know. I know, but I think it's
I've got two versions. I've got two
really
versions in my phone of his name.
It's really poor.
Is it WSE or WES?
Well, they put SE in it, but it's ES.
Yeah.
Well, a lot do that.
But I've actually told them, because it annoys me. I told them this, nothing about it. It's pathetic. It's not professional, put it that way.
Well, in
And
that
certainly
thing-
not that programme, to pay £3, I know we don't, but for £3 for those mistakes.
Isn't that the setter at the printers? What?
You would
Well,
expect the sense to know
You know
Michael
that
James and Michael James.
Michael, what did we say, Michael James.
Yeah.
But if you look at the programme prior to it again, it were James Berry.
Right.
And to me, they put Michael and James has gone down. And
The fact of the matter is, and as somebody who edited the programme many years ago for 3 years, you could never proofread your own work. It doesn't work. You can't. And you're more likely to miss big things than little things. As soon as it's printed, you see it. And of course, everybody wants everything to be as up to date as possible. So you now have less time to do it because we want to print it on a Friday. Rather than when I did the program in the 80s, you had to print it on a Tuesday night. So if you're at home on a Tuesday night, I had to stay until candles burning to get stuff in because it was set on Wednesday and printed Thursday. It was set, and that was at the Derbyshire Times. It's the first season I did, and we moved to someone who was a bit more flexible. But it's just it's a one-man band doing it, and as somebody who's done more printed stuff than it takes, proofreading your own work is impossible. You can't do it because you know what it's written, so you scan read it. No matter how you need it to be done by somebody else, there isn't the time for it to go through that, or the personnel to go through that because everything is done much later than it ever used to be. It's not right, but we were called. What programme were we? We were called Chesterfield United somewhere, weren't we? Recently,
Yes.
Was it? Was it Welling? I can't remember. Somewhere we were Chesterfield United. 1977, 78. There's a Watford Town. We played Watford Town. I don't remember that.
About it, all they'll make representations, but when you go into the BBC results page, and it gives you individual games, and it gives you the layout of teams.
Yeah.
Whoever it is from the press association,
Yeah.
it must be the same person that comes.
Nobody does it. There's nobody who does that.
I don't know how on earth they get people playing where they do.
It's someone on the BBC website just cuts and pastes and drags it in. There's nobody in the game passes that information on. But only because press association don't send anybody to National League.
Apart from the fact that the goalkeeper's not playing centre forward, no, they haven't done position. I don't know if you've seen it. Grimes is playing right midfield.
Yeah.
And then they have somebody.
It's always 4-4-2 as well.
Yeah, and it's just absolutely nonsense the layout of the team, and it's every week it's wrong.
Yeah, no, they don't have
The club can't do
They made
anything.
the decision not to have representatives at National League games, cost cutting and everything along those lines. And a lot of that to do is the fact that people just want to know the team. The people who desperately want to know the team know what positions they play. It's out at 2:01 on Twitter, so everybody knows what the team is. We could just sit and moan about what BBC's got no idea. Well, that's because somebody who's doing that's just putting it into a machine, and the machine makes the mind up. So it annoys me, but I don't get worried about it.
Can I make a slightly separate point about programmes?
Yes.
Is why on earth don't we have a league table in?
Because it changes too quickly.
Well, no, but it's because it's.
We've asked this question. We've asked this question before,
Yeah.
and it was this season. It wasn't allowed from a space perspective. So they're bottom-ish, but are they bottom? Are they really bad bottom? Or they've got 17 points? Have they got 30 points? So I don't think they'll ever find a program I did that didn't have the league table. So sadly, we'll want to look at it this year, don't we? Yeah, we've had a few years where we didn't want to look at it.
Is this a call where you're getting your typewriter out at the end of the season, doing a championship record-breaking season special?
I think I might have sat in the coffee shop in St Thomas's on Brampton the other morning and done a little drafting of how many pages a seasonal review, of course, because that's all it can possibly be at this stage. A seasonal review, how many pages there might be in it.
Sounds like being another spiritual to this take.
Yes, it is very spiritual.
Who started it? Oh, right, okay, someone started it. So,
That confused my wife though, when I said, we've reached another record, we've got the highest lowest gate.
yes.
And she went, what?
Highest lowest gate. Yeah. Highest lowest gate since 1950-51 season. Lowest gate is 6 hours, just shy of 6,500. Nearly since 1951, we've not even averaged that. So it's bonkers. So there you go. Any more questions?
The season
Disappeared off the booking today.
It wasn't supposed to that. Last year, actually, I was with the players being sent to the cave. Okay.
Yeah.
So they didn't get the opportunity to go, well, I'll just go and try and get a photo with a few of them before everything started. So just can people that are attending at least have a warning if companies sending them home at 10 o'clock, please? Because there was certainly one person on my table was very rapid.
Just popped up to So that you sounds a bit in and out, and you sound like Norman Collier.
Oh, well,
And
I've got a cold, but that's.
some paper people have been trying to scan the paper on the Wi-Fi signal type icon instead of putting it through. But maybe they could have a sticker on the turnstile that says paper ticket here, season ticket here, or phone
Yeah.
thing. Bad idea to just have a little sticker, paper ticket here. And
Well, yeah, but it's others, isn't it?
yeah,
Your
paper
ticket
and
was in the
mobile,
same
yeah,
place as your mobile.
yeah. All goes underneath.
What do they think to the QR code?
Where to put it.
Trying to see more.
Any more for any more before we?
Yes, just one thing.
Yeah.
I think I just mentioned in the note the other night to you that that's the, the very likely demise of Bob's board,
Oh, yes.
which I personally think would be a great shame. I don't look at all the issues on Bob's board.
Don't-
About now the personal sections and all those. And
Yeah.
the only ones I look at is the team things. And I personally think it would be a great shame if it does disappear.
Yeah.
I hope that this forum might say tonight that they would be wholly supportive of its continuation. That's all.
To be fair, earlier tonight, just before I came, they've had an anonymous person come forward with a substantial offer to sponsor the board carrying forward, whichever way people want it to carry on, whether it's as it is at the moment or being rejigged and sorted out.
That's
So
good news.
a forum will continue from what I can gather. Bob's board forum, so yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Okay, are we done?
The only other is a bit going back over old ground to some extent. This question when you go to away matches and you end up having to stand up because people stand up all over the place. The only positive thing I think of is York, where last year we were behind the goal, had to stand up, which couldn't see, but there's a section at the side for Chesterfield fans. They were actually stood. To me, there could be some liaison with the and stewards or whatever to see whether people sitting on the side could actually sit down. There wouldn't be a standing goal. So, several people have commented about at Watford that you have to stand up because everybody's standing up.
Yeah, it's very difficult though for away stewards.
I found that if you speak to the club, you were looking through the goal, but I didn't have to stand up, you know.
New York ground.
Yeah,
I mean, at other places where there's a section with everybody having to stand, everybody has to stand. But it struck me that York, there was a section around the goal where we were last time. If asked or whatever, they couldn't sit.
Did we sell a lot of tickets at York last time we went?
It was sold
1,700 on a Tuesday night. Yeah,
no, it's Good Friday this
Good
year.
Friday this year. So I think there'll be all the away bit will be taken up. So that, and last time there was the Chesterfield. So I would have thought they could liaise with York. So
It's difficult because at York, but in fact, Paul motivated because everybody knows. So
yeah.
But let's say like a lot of the time depends how tickets sold. I mean, Eastleigh they've just opened them block by block, haven't they? So
Yeah.
if you sit in the seat you've been allocated,
Yeah.
you sit in the
away.
seat.
Yeah.
Well, where are we going to?
At least you could choose within the block, but everybody who got the tickets early is in block A, aren't they? Really, next block B, and then.
We're going to Bromley, and I can honestly say you will not see hardly any match.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
for some apparent reason, I don't understand it. I watched them on telly, not only against us. At Bromley, people walk around all the time.
yeah.
And they're just walking past us all the time.
But that new stand behind the goal, behind home goal, they have got
They do
disabled.
Yeah, no. Well, last
things.
year.
That's where they put one for the first year.
Yeah, well,
Because it nearly-
last year I was assured Sylvia would sit there, but the steward wouldn't let go. No. So she was in this area where people walking.
Again, I'll say, if you ever get that problem, ring me.
Yeah.
They're just walking past you all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're walking around.
No, I had a conversation with the lassie that said no, that she'll definitely be there. And anyway, the stewards then wouldn't let her.
No, we didn't even know stop for us, but we can see.
No.
I had that problem too. Scunthorpe.
My actual ticket was one of the ones behind the goal at York, right at that. And I watched the second half. for Jack Shum because he got so packed in.
Yeah.
I just got 3 tickets back there. All the sat round on the by the way.
Okay, well, we'll call it a day. Thank you for everybody. Like, you didn't go. We're not busting it up, but we'll switch the link off and we'll. Thank you very much, Marcia. Yeah. There you go. The Northern Valley has just dropped off.